Alright, welcome back. Welcome back to another SAS. This was SAS X13. This one's going to be sort of a more sort of a you can extract uh, intelligence or wisdom pretty much immediately out of it. It's just like a pretty relevant topic these days. It's how do you study in the age of AI? And when I talk about studying in this context, it's more along the lines of generic studying. It's not be it philosophy or like software engineering. It's not just like related to one domain. So it's like generic studying. It's sort of an intellectual exercise in thinking what is worth studying these days. uh for a, for a for instance, like before calculators, like doing mental math and stuff for like rocket science, and like having people just do math out there was important. Math on paper was important, but right now it's pretty much irrelevant. So what is the next class of domains or fields that become less relevant for humans to invest their time into is what I've been pondering about. Uh, I mostly arrive at this particular question because I am kind of a person who holds multiple interests. It's been a thing that I've been into for like 5 years now. I started out explicitly like being interested in multiple things and like actively realizing and like affirming that and like trying to venture into whole bunch of stuff like 5-6 years ago. So that was my polymathy phase. It was right after I read Leonardo da Vinci's biography by Walter Isaacson. That's what mostly led to that. So since then I've been kind of thinking, and this of course affects. This is a hierarchical thing. It's a sort of it goes down. It's sort of a fractal question, as like in each domain. First of all, you ask like what domain should you venture into, like each, and then each domain in itself has different aspects to it that might not be worth studying anymore, or that might sort of have a different value allocation to them in terms of the worth they provide to the human mind in terms of productivity. Of course, for the sake of enjoying knowledge and for the sake of knowledge itself, you can study whatever you want. There's no restriction to that, but we're restricting ourselves to the domain of productivity in here. That's a pretty heavy topic. It's pretty much tied into value creation. Now value creation in itself is sort of a, it's not just money. It's generically value creation has been of interest to me. I mean, I do not. I personally, it's one of my beliefs to like do something valuable. It's like it's getting into value creation, and the rest takes care of itself. Like money, status, fame. The rest follows if you're like sort of grounded in your principles in terms of like what you do is grounded into being something that creates value as a whole for like a sizable chunk of the population. So sizable chunk, or like a uh, if you take a weighted importance of the population, it's like important for someone in the population with a certain weight. So if value creation is your goal, it's a nice medium between fulfillment for yourself and like how society finds you valuable, and like in return what rewards you get for like getting into whatever you're getting into. So that question of what to study in the age of AI, because like everyone likes reading books. I mean, I do not have a bookshelf in the background, but then I do have books lying around, and I do read a whole bunch of ebooks, and I do let's say be it software engineering or like any other random domain. It is interesting. So yeah, that sets up the premise of the whole thought thread that I've been having. So what we could get into right now then is if you think of AI is like pattern recognition. So like pattern recognition. So the simpler patterns, they get easier to deal with. So in terms of productivity, like observing patterns is not it. You should not be doing that. Critical thinking, probably like maintaining large contexts, and creativity is probably still up to humans. I mean, yeah, we haven't reached singularity yet. So according to like public sources, as far as as far as it is in the public domain, it's not reached. Uh, so yeah, creativity sounds like a nice deal to invest into. productivity wise. It is monetizable. People find it interesting. So there's that. Uh, you could. I mean, okay, if you wanted to like sort of, I don't know, monetize a certain, probably commenting, probably this act of commenting on the current state of the world, which helps people strategize better in terms of the life, and yeah, understanding where to invest their efforts into. That probably sounds kind of interesting. uh I think the cup is messing with the contrast of my camera. Anyway, uh yeah, what's next is what I was getting into is like, what was I talking about? Yeah, talking like this, like rambling about like philosophically. This is sort of a neo philosophical pursuit of mine, where I pick up a question, I dissect it, and like I get into the weeds of it. So probably this, I mean, I hope this provides certain value in terms of like it helps you think. It at least encourages you to think. It might not provide you with answers, but it probably definitely does help you ask questions. I guess that is an important skill to nurture. That is an important skill to have these days. So being able to think and being able to understand what's studying these days. For example, uh, by studying I mean deliberate practice. So of course knowing is one thing, and like actually okay, actually knowing a concept is one thing, and actually drilling something, and uh actually yeah, that actually drilling something versus just knowing something is like two different things. Like gaining mastery in something, but that is what I mean by studying, is like mastering a domain. So for instance, I believe rhetoric, as in the act of being able to convince people, like present arguments in a well-defined fashion, and being able to converse about complex topics, and like being able to present and being able to teach. I believe being able to teach as well is sort of a nice thing to get into. I don't think its value is going to decay or deprecate over time. Depreciate over time. So I think uh, teaching critical stuff that is not just patterns, but then it's more of an art plus a science. So given that I said that it's a hierarchical thing as to like what goes out of value in each domain, we have the opportunity to sort of let's say it's a given the human brain has a limited context it could work with. Given that we delegate a whole bunch of complexities uh, to the computer, to AI, we could sort of start handling larger sort of mergers of domains, and yeah, humans could think in a completely different fashion. Now, we whenever we think, it's like it's the whole bunch of black boxes that we rely on, also like stuff that we already expect to be true when we are thinking, and when we are making leaps of logic during our cognition phases. So those leaps of logic start to get larger and larger, and because it's delegated to such compute that is backed by certain like rigor, certain mathematics, uh, in smaller steps, you start being able to expand your scope of like what you can grasp as a whole, and like how you can be productive. So being a polymath becomes sort of easier in this era. Then that's something I'd been wrestling with for a while. It had been pretty stressful, sort of that idea of being a polymath. I started into the idea from 2019. That's when I read the book. I think it was 2019 or 2020. Uh, that's when I started. And like LLMs got like famous only in like 2022. There's a number of 2022. The ChatGPT stuff. That's when that happened. Uh, Before that, polymathy. I'd been into polymathy for a while. I used to read very variedly. I used to read a whole bunch of textbooks, a whole bunch of domains, and try to connect stuff and maintain my notes and everything. These days, it is all much easier. The heavy task of like, I don't know, maintaining notes, uh, yeah, extracting content and like finding meaningful stuff and finding connections. That draining process has sort of been accelerated by AI. So you still study the same domains. You still study the same yeah, the same domains, but AI sort of acts like sort of affects your methods. You do not study it in the same manner. You still want to do math, but then you want to think in higher abstractions. You don't want to, yeah, you want to think in higher abstractions and like multiple dimensions and like, yeah, that's what it is, because you can now. You do not need to think about the lower stuff. You do not think you can start working on abstractions and like black boxes and like start building upon them like Lego. So the stability of that structure that you build upon, it's more stable, based on more stable in your own mind, because you just delegated the complexity to a certain rigorous mathematical algorithm. So yeah, that's 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 kind of cool. And by AI, I do not just mean neural AI, I also mean neurosymbolic AI. I personally have been getting into neurosymbolic AI recently. That's been nice. It's been nice. So it's a happy mixture of like certainty plus pattern recognition. So reasoning plus being able to identify patterns. That's what interests me these days. It's not just like a lot of data, but then also like intelligent compute sprinkled in at proper times. Deductions and stuff sprinkled at like the right times after recognition. That really probably helps sell the idea of AI to me. To me, uh, yeah. So how do I study? How do I study now? Initially, I used to have my notes sort of interlinked and stuff. Every wannabe like me, like this polymath, like wannabe polymath like me, probably has Zettelkasten in somewhere. I have mine in Emacs. This is Conver industry, so I'm not going to talk about Emacs in here. If you want to hear more about this, go to the partner channel. That's the Bit-Mage. That's where you'll find mostly like tech stuff. Uh, yeah. So what I do these days, I've just like I've started thinking about domains in a more meta manner. It's like meta domain is the new subject. Like how do you express domains? How do you link domains? That sort of DSL, that domain specific language of working with with subjects as a whole has what has accelerated my work, and that is fairly interesting. And AI does make it creative again. So it's not a slog anymore. I sort of put on some EDM and I can vibe to studying as well. Grasping concepts, which was the most fun aspect of like studying and like getting something that has been accelerated. So that is I'll give EA the credit to it. I mean all the amount that we cry about AI, all that AI slop being generated, but then it has definitely made my life easier in terms of studying and like grasping new stuff and like enjoying studying again with like certain speed and making decent progress and hitting the ground running and iterating very quickly. So you could hit production. Those looks like there's a saying in like engineering, hitting production is like software engineering, hitting production pretty quickly with sort of uh, with larger blocks of abstractions, and you could choose to break them down at your own will later down the line. So it's not about just losing your critical thought, but then it's having the choice for thinking critically whenever you want to, versus just taking leaps of logic, leaps of, I wouldn't say leaps of faith, I would say leaps of logic, because it's yeah, I'm gonna say that uh, whenever you want to. So that's nice. Of course, this comes with the idea of like not being lazy when it comes to it. You should put in your hours of like deep work. That is also something I block in during my day, at least an hour or 2 hours, a couple of hours worth of deep work or like reading something with depth, where you're breaking down abstractions rather than just like aiming for productivity, is like scheduled in my day. So that of course you would do without AI as well. So that's when I turn off all my tooling. I only use AI or like LLMs to like ask questions and like get into deep conversations and like understand concepts and like make connections and stuff. There's a specific period during my day when I do that. So that's been accelerated. And of course there's other times where you have to just like iterate upon some patterns. You might have to like look at a whole bunch of logs and fix production, or like you might need to, I don't know, get a pipeline up and running, or like maintain and stuff. It's like usual plumbing. That also, because of pattern recognition, it's mostly patterns and you have to like fit stuff in. It's like pieces of puzzle in. L- could be like gooey pieces of puzzle, could be like not so structured, but then still a higher order pattern to it. Identifying and working with that higher order pattern also becomes faster. So it accelerates both sides, the pragmatic side as well as the theoretical side of like building mastery in a domain. All in all, it's good. Now, what are the downsides? The downsides is like it's going to cost you explicit effort to like be aware of how you're using AI and what you're building upon, and how you're actually working around it. You're not letting the blind spots accumulate. That's like really important. Now I deliberately schedule in a whole bunch of deep work around whatever I've been using AI in during my day, so that I do not accumulate these blind spots. Because I've noticed a difference. I mean, I do notice a difference. It's like when I am sort of an aware companion uh, for an AI, compared to aware in the sense like domain aware companion, as in I sort of have hints and stuff as to like what I really want to do, what I want to build, what I'm thinking of, and I'm able to ask it good questions, so I'm able to like build better stuff than just when compared to like I'm giving it the end goal in a declarative fashion, and like asking it to generate black boxes that satisfy the constraints. So iterating with both is sort of like having a dual mindset, being able to switch between that really accelerates a whole bunch of stuff. And if it was not for AI, I mean, I'm going to admit to it, it would have been really difficult to like do one without sacrificing the other. So that would have been really difficult. You would either have to like invest a whole bunch of time just getting theoretically sound first, failing with a lot of projects, and then building your theory foundations up again, and then like being good at production. Versus right now, you could you you could alter between the two, and you could also control the granularity of the theoretical and the pragmatic mindset in a certain project. Just cause like this sort of piece of technology now exists and is available for like common usage. So it's kind of a really big cognitive leap for humanity in terms of like how we should invest our efforts. Uh, Now this studying in the age of AI is, it's more along the lines of you're studying for the sake of studying. You're studying for the sake of mastery, not for the sake of, I don't know, getting a job, or getting a grade, or I don't know, whatever it is. It's not for the sake of markers markers of intellect, or like, I don't know, having studied. So not it's not for the sake of superficial markers of having studied. It is for the sake of mastering the domain itself. It's for like contributing back to the domain. It's for like, let's say research, or deep thought into a certain field. So if you're into that, it's like good times for us. I mean, I have been like really stressed and like it's been really stressful times for me pre AI usage in my studying in an aware manner. So I am lazy sometimes, but then I definitely do make it a point that I make up for it. I make up for it by investing explicit hours into like figuring out my blind spots and stuff. So that's there. That's really important. I'm also looking at a whole bunch of like setting up a whole bunch of personal computing infrastructure. So as I said, like neurosymbolic AI is the thing that I've been getting into, and I do maintain my old knowledge graphs and stuff, and I do have everyone has like pattern recognition models like SLMs, small and large language models that there is like accessible programmatically. Uh, so that is like a really interesting opportunity to sort of build this new sort of second brain in terms of personal compute. It's like extending your brain's ecosystem. It's I would say it's beyond having a new kind of smartphone or laptop, or like it's beyond having a new kind of, like, I don't know, like it's something else. It's like an appendage to your cognitive capabilities. It's like once you sort of make it adapt to yourself and you adapt to it, new possibilities kind of start opening up. So how do you sort of get started with like exploring those possibilities is something we can discuss about. What I'd say is consider being ambitious. Consider being ambitious in your projects. Make mistakes. So that is mostly it. Consider being ambitious and make mistakes. Yeah, yeah. And like iterate. I mean a certain doggedness when it comes to yeah, with a certain doggedness and ambition when it comes to like choosing side projects is going to like help you out a lot. The amount of stuff that you've grasped and like later on can apply in like actual scenarios is fun. I wouldn't have been able to imagine the amount that I've grasped in a recent while if it was not for AI. So, well, I'm kind of grateful for the tech. As much as everyone likes to yeah, like throw slander and uh yeah, through slander. It's actually really useful. It's really useful if you're like disciplined. Uh, in the same amount of effort and let's say discipline, you are going to be better. You are definitely going to be better. Uh, you could be lazy and you could like fake it till you make it kind of stuff. I mean, you could fake in production and like be like shit, and that could be a thing you do. But then if you're like disciplined enough and like you invest effort and you're like just as tenacious when it comes to like mastering your domains, and you really do it for the love of the domain and like contributing back to it, and like actual some actual research, and like you write along the way and you blog and stuff. It's like a really good thing to do. So what you could take away from this is like yeah, maintain discipline, slot in disciplined chunks of like explicitly slashing down your blind spots. That is something important. That really helps out a lot. Plus, I mean, it allows you to have a life and study. So this wouldn't have been possible before. But then, I mean, we'd probably going to see. Uh, yeah, we're probably going to see because people get to do what they enjoy now, while delegating away a whole bunch of stuff to pattern recognizers. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff that is boring is just pattern recognition. It's like similar patterns. Anything that is like has a certain sense of uncertainty to it, a novelty to it. It's your pipeline is going to be reduced to uh, humans dealing with that with certain probably like a human in the loop kind of thing. Plus like the pattern recognition or like certainty sort of delegated away to a pipeline or an algorithm. So you're like the cycle of grasping new things or like getting to decision points again and again with like the boring stuff in between gets reduced. It helps humans learn faster, accelerate their cognition, and yeah, get to results faster. So that is kind of great. Uh, of course, disclaimers all around. I mean, yeah, it's not the end all be all of everything as of right now. Human critique and thought is still really important. I mean, yeah, having questions like what is worth studying right now. I don't think as of right now, or like just being creative, like talking about things like these, or like being able to like convince other people. And yeah, the human factor like in like societal ecosystems is like a big thing. It's like really uncertain and it's like a really fun game to play. So cognition itself is like a really interesting thing. So yeah, I mean, it keeps things interesting. So I don't think like he is up there yet. It's not as mischievous as me when it comes to like dealing with people. It probably doesn't lie as well. This is yeah, but then it does help out with a whole bunch of other stuff. Uh, so yeah, that's probably it for the day. Hope you found it useful. This was Raj from Conver Industries, and we talked about how do you study in the age of AI? What should you consider? What should you be thinking about? And yeah, thanks for tuning in.